All right. Welcome back. I am back already, and I want to tackle this subject. I was inspired to deal with this, and I believe that it is crucial. It's crucial. People should take a step back, look at the big picture, and understand how much of a threat dogs are to every group of people on this planet that decides to embrace them. However, it is very possible that white people may be the hardest hit by this dog lover culture. So let's talk about it. Now, as many of you know, white people are the biggest supporters of my platform. And it's always been that way. I don't know why, but I think a part of it has to do with the fact that white people they're bigger dog lovers. On average, I would say a higher percentage of white people own dogs. So quite naturally, there would be more white people who are sick and tired of dogs. Right? That's just my guess. A higher percentage of them own dogs, so a higher percentage of them are sick of dogs. Now, I talked about this article in a previous live stream, and I was inspired to do this live stream after I watched a video by Four-Legged Plague. I shared that video in the community section. I think it's titled "The Replacement of Children with Dogs." Big shout out to everybody who's able to join me in this live stream. I won't take up too much of your time, but I definitely want to tackle this subject. ABQ, I see you. Isabel, Kittens, Serena. Now, this is the article I told you all about. Some of you may be familiar with this information. It's titled, "The United States White Population Declines for the First Time Ever," according to a 2020 census. That is alarming. Now, I made a video and I asked, why don't white nationalists take a stand against dogs? But that is not just a question to white nationalists. I mention white nationalists because, it's a part of their theory. It's something that they value, right? It's something that they value. They value reproducing and maintaining their existence on this planet. People, that is something that all groups should value. All groups should value, first of all, themselves. Not only who they are, you should value and take pride in what you are. I don't want to hear anything about, some people don't have anything to be proud of because their history is full of evil. Listen, you can find evil in all groups. You can find good in all groups. That's just the bottom line. Let's not stereotype here because that makes you ignorant. There are plenty of good things in everyone's history. I'm proud of my history as a black person, even though many of my ancestors sold my ancestors into slavery. There has been several wars between black groups. There has been a lot of horrible and despicable things done by black people. I've had family members who have been killed by black people. So don't let anybody try to shame you into believing that you should not be proud of what you are. It's all about how you express that pride. You can be a proud person, proud of your race, without having it express itself in a negative way. Being proud of what you are does not mean that you go out and attack others. It just means that you embrace the good, share the good, and hope that it catches on, that people start to admire the good that they've done and want to duplicate it. Listen, we are human beings. We are immensely intelligent. You can use anything to your advantage. You just have to be aware of how to use it. This is something that all white people should value. And honestly, I believe white people should be taking the strongest stance against this dog culture. It is perfectly natural and healthy to be concerned about your declining population. The white population is the only population that is declining. This article says overall, the white alone population fell by 8.6% since 2010. Just in 10 little old years. People, this is an epidemic that needs to be taken seriously. But I think people make a big mistake when they point towards interracial relationships, immigration, so on and so forth. Don't point outside of yourself. More white people need to point at themselves and ask themselves, what are we doing to thwart our population growth? Once you correct everything that you're doing, then you could focus on outside entities. This is something that we as black people talk about a lot. Whenever you talk about racism, trust me, there's going to be a portion of black people who say, but what about how we attack and kill each other? We always mention that as well. It's not a display of self-hatred. I want black people to get off this thing where we look at it as coonish or disrespectful to reflect on our own behavior. That is a positive thing. That is a great thing. And it's intelligent. You always should look at your flaws. Don't you pay attention to clunks and weird noises in your car? You want to keep yourself in good health and prosperous. So you always want to examine whatever flaws you may have. And this dog lover culture may very well be the greatest contributor to the decline in the white population. And they need to take this very serious. when you look across the country, you look across the world, you notice that the people whose population is declining, they are the biggest dog lovers. This is unhealthy in any way. If you embrace the existence of dogs, it's going to impact you in a negative way in many, many different ways. But this should be alarming to all white people. They dropped below 60% in 2020. Dropped to 58% of America's population. Just so happens America's probably the greatest promoter of dogs. Do you think that's smart? Think about this. Now, I feel so passionately about this subject, I informed Tucker Carlson that I'm about to talk about it. Many talk about Tucker's words and opinions on the great replacement theory. This idea that whites are going to be or are being replaced by other groups. You may want to consider the possibility that the greatest contributor to the decline and the zero growth of population may be dogs. Because the narrative that's put out here is very malicious and evil. Again, watch that video made by Four-Legged Plague. That is one of the most chilling videos I've ever listened to. I felt unnerved listening to that video. This idea that it's better to have dogs than kids, that dogs are better than kids, has gotten out of hand. It's to the point now where people make very disrespectful comments towards children. You have these sick articles everywhere that talks about how it's better to have a dog rather than a kid. And you allow the promotion of dogs in your schools, in your libraries, dentist offices, anywhere children are present. These dog cults want to push dogs on them because they want them to grow up and prefer to have a dog, to be a dog mom or dog dad, rather than a real mom or dad. How could that possibly be a healthy thing? And as many of you know, in some cities, some parts of the country, there are actually more dogs than there are children. Do y'all know in this country as a whole, there is about just as many dogs as there are children? Think about that. It has to have an impact on their population. It has to. Again, do your research. Look at these disrespectful websites. I believe I saved one. There is a very disrespectful and sinister article that was shared by Four-Legged Plague, and I'm going to share it here with you now and just touch on some of the vile, disrespectful things. People, we've talked about this several times. how they say the most disrespectful, disgusting things about children. Look at this. Look at the title. 21 things everyone who loves dogs but hates babies knows. People, this is coming from a population whose population is declining. These are the last types of things that they should be saying. The white population in general should have mobbed up on this journalist and any other journalist, any other person, anywhere who makes statements like this. They should catch so much backlash that they retract their statements, delete their comments, delete their articles. Who in the world talks about how they hate babies? Are you out of your mind? Who hates a baby? When we all used to be babies ourselves. You want to talk about self-hatred? A lot of us as black people talk about self-hatred. I want white people to reflect on their own self-hatred. Those white people who say things like this, who co-sign with things like this. Look at this, okay? And who comes up with 21 things? This is sinister. Talking about hanging out with dogs, how they have a connection only with dogs and not people, how they'll be at a party seemingly unable to connect with other people, but as soon as they see a dog, their face lights up and they're happy all of a sudden. You notice how many dog lovers condition themselves to appreciate the presence of dogs more than they appreciate the presence of people? You don't think that will contribute to the decline of your population? You have a great number of people who say, I don't want kids, I just want dogs. They've literally replaced potential children with dogs. Nobody can tell me that this is not contributing to their declining population. And it all starts with the mind. Don't you dare condition yourself on rhetoric like this. Are you out of your mind? As soon as someone hands you a baby, you instantly panic. Looking at kids and treating them like they're disgusting. Are you out of your mind? Making these vile statements. Talking about you can't have a conversation with a baby. Oh, but you can have a conversation with a dog? You're supposed to have conversations with babies. Unlike dogs, they are going to process your words and are eventually going to speak themselves, while dogs will never speak. Why didn't this woman get attacked for writing something like this? Look at this. You can chat to a dog for hours. Really? It's like they're bending over backwards to hate kids and love dogs. How could you condition yourself on rhetoric like this for years and years before having a child, and then have a child and be a good parent? Do you really think you condition yourself on this type of rhetoric and not have it rub off on you, have an effect on how you treat your own children when you have them? Don't you think this type of rhetoric will make it less likely that you'll even have children at all? Look at this. The problem with babies is that they contribute nothing to any conversation they're a part of, and yet they're always the center of attention. What? I mean, this is unbelievable. Who in the world? What? As if dogs contribute to conversations. And dogs are also the center of attention. And they are treating or teaching kids in schools to treat dogs like the center of attention by bringing these therapy dogs into these classrooms, into these schools, into these libraries. Conditioning them to view the dog as the center of attention rather than viewing themselves as the center of attention. Teaching them not to value themselves. People, that's a recipe for a population of people whose population is going to decline. We have to think. You have to put this rhetoric, this dog lover culture under the microscope. And if you are the only people on the planet whose population is declining, you need to stay as far away from rhetoric like this as possible. You should promote parenthood more than any other group on the planet. But yet, it seems like we get rhetoric like this most from the population whose numbers are declining. Where are the white nationalists? You know, the very fact that white nationalists, and I'm familiar with white nationalists, I follow them. I keep up with any and everything. I'm well informed. I follow them on Reddit. I follow them on 4chan. I follow them on Stormfront. I've been doing so for a very long time, over 2 decades now. And the fact that they do not take a strong stance against this dog culture is mind-blowing. When it's one of the greatest threats to their population, if not the greatest threat, because it's something that you actually embrace. I believe dog culture is embraced among whites more than interracial relationships. Do you disagree with that? As a whole, I believe whites embrace dogs more than they embrace interracial relationships. I don't think interracial relationships is as big of a threat to the white population as dogs. There may be nothing that's a greater threat to their population. And this is not even talking about the mutilations. Not only are people choosing to be a dog parent rather than a real parent, the children that they do have are being attacked, mutilated. What is this? Again, look at these disgusting statements they make about babies. Look at this. You would never volunteer to babysit a friend's baby, but you would pay literal money to dog sit a friend's dog. And look, they make these disgusting memes. We've seen several of these types of memes. What type of person in their right mind looks at a baby like this? You used to be a baby, you idiot. This is deep self-hatred. When you hate the very thing that you started off as. You came into this world as a baby and you're disgusted by babies? Yes, I'm fired up. Because I hate stupidity. I hate degenerative behavior and thinking. Even though you tell your friends that their babies look cute, you secretly think they all look like shrunken versions of fat old men. Basically just sat up here and said that babies are ugly. Who does that? Who embraces that type of mentality? Again, white people should be the last people talking like this. Nobody should be talking like this. Who in the world, that's so immoral to make derogatory statements about babies? But not only are dogs cute, they can also be beautiful and elegant and glamorous. All these people out here got their main photo, their avatars of them and a dog, or of a dog alone. It's very rare that you see them in their avatar with their child, or an avatar of just their child. That's somehow uncool. That's nasty. That's weird. That's dumb. That's not hip. These dog lovers literally insult the very existence of babies, period. No wonder. And look, dog lovers are what? Some 60-65% of the population. It's the majority of the population. No wonder their population is declining. White people who are not dog lovers, you need to take a strong stance against this lifestyle. And anytime anyone makes a derogatory statement about a baby, you need to pounce on them. Don't let it slide. Even if they just come close to insulting babies in general, you have to shut that down immediately. Look at this statement. Nothing aggravates you more than a baby in a pub. Who gathers in a circle just to talk about how much they hate babies and how much dogs are so much better than babies? But nothing delights you as much as a friendly dog in a pub. Whenever you see a dog, you will always stop to introduce yourself and pay its owner a compliment. And we hear a lot of dog lovers saying things like this all the time. If you don't already own a dog, you have given a lot of thought to what you would name your future dog. What? But not your child. And here in this meme, the pregnant woman says, so we're thinking Sam for our boy, or Maya for a girl. And she says, so we're thinking Wilf for a Schnauzer, or Bob for a Jack Russell. This constant equating dogs with kids. They either put dogs on the same level as kids and babies or above them. That is exact. If you run across a dog lover who does not say that dogs are better than children, there's a good chance that they believe that dogs are exactly like children. And that is probably the majority of the white dog lover population. And they're sitting around scratching their head, wondering why their numbers are declining. This may be the biggest reason. You can't embrace mentality like this. No matter if your population is increasing or declining, it's just sickening. Look at this. Look at what it says here. The grossest thing about babies is that they dribble. But when dogs drool, it's so cute. People, wow. Wow. I'm actually surprised that this author wasn't forced to remove this article. People should have been outraged. Somebody writing something like this, calling babies gross when they dribble. But when a mutant is drooling, it's cute. They are trying to condition each other to view babies as ugly and disgusting, and to view dogs as beautiful, cute, and adorable. It all starts with the mind. Look at this. And it's also gross that they wear nappies that have to be changed regularly. Listen to that. As if there's nothing gross about a mutt taking a dump somewhere, turning around and eating it, rolling in it, leaving it there, can't wipe their behind, comes back into your home and gets on your bed, your furniture. Come inside your house, period. They condition themselves to not view things like that as disgusting. But they want to view kids and babies as disgusting. That's disgusting. When a baby screams, you get so full of rage you could scream. But when a dog whines, you just give it a little tickle and everything's okay again. Wow. You've got to be kidding me. I want y'all to go through this list and share with us anything else you may find. And if you have the time, leave comments on these articles. You have to speak out against degenerative, inhumane, flat out evil discussions like this. This is something I think needs to be taken very seriously. And again, this is not just an issue with white nationalists. Every white person on earth should feel passionately about this. And they need to create a culture that appreciates parenthood, appreciates their own children. That's the type of culture you need. There are more dogs in Denver than kids. Did y'all know that? It says about 158,000 dogs and about 140,000 kids in Denver. San Francisco, same thing. More dogs in San Francisco than children. You telling me that that does not have an effect on their declining population? So I am waiting. And listen, I already know that my videos have been shared on websites. These white nationalists, the white nationalist groups on Reddit, 4chan, Stormfront. I can see my analytics, where my traffic comes from. They're starting to wake up as well. And if they really valued their population, they should have been on top of this a long time ago. Rather than sitting back and viewing me as the enemy. How crazy is this? Here's something I got from another article. 9 reasons to like your dogs more than your kids. And they go over a bunch of disgusting filth. Look at how often, like I said before, they project images of kids with dogs. babies with dogs. Now I have to censor the kids because YouTube has a policy. You show kids, they disable your comments. I feel like it's disrespectful to censor a child's face out. I'm not comfortable doing this, but I want to give you an image of what I'm talking about. They are bringing dogs into your schools. Anywhere your children are, they are bringing dogs around them. And what they're doing is trying to condition your kids to view dogs as desirable. So that when they grow up, they will want a dog, not a child, because they were not conditioned growing up to value or to desire to be a parent. That is sickening. That is very dysfunctional. And you got the public school system participating in this, leading the way, bringing dogs into schools, targeting your kids. They can't even go to the dentist office without being bombarded with dogs. That is disgusting. And none of you parents should tolerate this. There should be actual movements against these therapy dogs in these schools, in these libraries, and anywhere else your kids are. When they bring them into the dentist office, it's primarily for the kids. They say it themselves. We're going over the articles. They should be on the front line, dead set against this culture. And I'm not just talking about white nationalists. I'm talking about every white person in this country. This is unacceptable behavior. Dogs, and they are trying to push dogs off as being just as effective as medicine, saying that they help you to relieve pain, help kids to read. And you're letting them get away with this propaganda. They are doing this, putting it in the laws. They want it to be where your child has to be exposed to a dog in order to grow and develop properly. And when those kids grow up talking about, I don't want to be a parent, I don't want kids, kids are gross, kids are annoying, kids are nasty, but you head over heels in love with a dog, I think it is shocking where the white population has zero growth and is now declining at the same time when dog nuttery is stronger than ever. Every day there is some new school, and I mean that literally. Every day there is some new school somewhere that is bringing a therapy dog around kids. Right? I just want to give you a quick preview or example of what I'm talking about. Let's see here. Right, let me share my screen. This is dangerous stuff. This is very dangerous. This is suicidal. This is a suicidal culture. Now let's filter for the past 24 hours. Just within 24 hours, You got 5 pages. I believe, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 articles per page. Some of them might be duplicates, but it don't matter. These stories surface every day. West Virginia's first high school gets therapy dog. Another one here. Another one here. They are constantly, every day, pushing dogs into kids. That is insulting, demonic. As soon as there is a tragedy, shooting, they want to push dogs onto those people. This is sickening. Sickening, people. So, I think it is in every white person's best interest to value their own existence, to value being a parent, and to attack this dog lover culture. Simple as that. You know, a lot of people, most people look at owning dogs as something that's harmless. It's just something that people do. Oh, no big deal. It's just owning a dog. No. This is an actual cult. And it's a cult that is anti-human, anti-parent, anti-child. And it is getting worse and worse. You do your own research. I haven't done much research into this. So I encourage people who come across crucial information, share it with us in the comment section. This is not a joke. It's not a joke. And unless you want to commit suicide and wipe yourselves clean from the earth, you'll participate in the eradication of this evil culture. Let's hope this type of message can resonate with more people, possibly some dog lovers who previously could listen to an anti-dog rant and not feel motivated one bit. Well, my goal is to get everyone on board. I don't care what you think about me or my people, because a dog-free society is a better society no matter what. It is a huge step forward in a more civilized, healthy society. That is ultimately the goal. So, unusual subject here, and I like it. I love it. Share and like this video if you would, please, and contribute any additional information in the comment section of this video. Again, shout out to everybody who's able to join me, everybody who's contributed in the chat room, and I hope to see you all on the next live stream as we continue with this crusade.